So today I had a court hearing. I actually did it by WebEx, so got to appear out here. Had to take my beautiful hat off. So try to have plenty of respect for the judge's courtroom. Somebody told me to not smoke a vape while on camera, while in the courtroom. I said, sir, you have no right to assume what I am smoking, and clearly the fact that you think that that is a vape shows that you know nothing, that is speculation, and you should probably keep your mouth shut. I love making the judge smile. Now that actually makes me feel good when I can make the judge smile. She also smiled when I mentioned that next month I will be filing my candidacy for the United States Congress for the 7th Congressional District in Missouri's Congress. So big midterms coming up. And I will be a part of those big midterms. And I will officially have my candidacy placed in February of 2026. So be watching for that. This is not weed. We know YouTube has, monetization policies. We would never want to piss off a brand that gives me such a great platform and others like YouTube. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things that I really like about being a content creator for y'all out here. YouTube has given us such a great platform to be able to get on here, reach an audience. I need to share this video out. Okay, had to go on there and share that to at least one platform. Let everybody know that we're doing this live. Okay, so we got somebody finally on here. Court I think went kind of well today. I really I'm hoping that I can work things out with my public defender, because me and him have had nothing but issues. The guy likes to get in my face, so I mean that could lead to something really bad between me and him that I hope doesn't happen. I'm looking to, get to April, with competent counsel and be able to beat my charges. Recently, filed a motion to eliminate. The judge let me know today that she's still waiting on the prosecution to respond on what they want to do with the motion to eliminate. But I'm going to be meeting with my attorney Bill by the end of this week, and we'll talk about how to proceed on that. But the prosecution has shown their hand that they have nothing, because none of the evidence that they presented was even about the alleged kidnapping on February 21st, 2025. Everything that they have tried to present is only a personal attack on my character. It's all evidence that the judge shouldn't even allow into the case. So our motion to eliminate hasn't been set yet for a hearing date. They are all public, and honestly, I'm considering whether or not they should be public on YouTube too, because some of the things that the prosecution tries to do and present It is unbelievable. And in these files that the prosecution has presented, they won't. Um, they go back to my childhood. They go back to sometimes when I was, as a 9-year-old child, was a victim of abuse. And it's so ironic that they bring up this event of my childhood abuse, because what that abuse was from a guy that set my mother up to go down on methamphetamine charges. A guy that she wrote to in prison. A guy that, when he got out of prison, came to live with us. A guy that abused me and my brothers. A very bad person. And this bad person worked for the police. He was a snitch for the police. And if you don't know what a snitch is, or a snitch agent, then get ready for my next video, because we'll go into in breaking down exactly what a snitch is. And this life probably isn't going to go really long, because the motion to eliminate isn't set yet. There's really nothing to report on that. My motion to try to get a change of counsel was denied. My trial's set for April, so by that time I'll be an official candidate in April for United States Congress. Welcome to the live. Hop into the chat if you have any questions. So, I mean, I answer questions on my lives. The more people get in here, the more questions we get, the more questions I'll answer. Sometimes I am slow to answer, though. Today in court, I didn't get my change of counsel, but whatever I have to do to work with Bill going forward, I will. Try to improve that relationship, better it. I think me and him need to talk in person without him yelling and throwing his hands in my face. So that I don't really appreciate from my attorney. I don't think it leads to a good attorney-client relationship. But the fact that the county is trying to introduce evidence. Hey, Fernando. The fact that the prosecution is trying to introduce evidence from when I was a 9-year-old victim of domestic violence is shocking. That's part of what's in my motion to eliminate. Now, since they did give me that evidence, and since I do have that evidence of the things that they're reporting, am I a cowboy? Jesse James, man. That's what I feel like going up against these corrupt cops. So, I mean, when it comes to that, yeah, I got a sister who passed recently, and she was a diehard Cowboys fan. So, personally, I'm a heartbroken Chiefs fan that was seeing my team leave my state and go to Kansas. So, where Kansas doesn't even allow marijuana. And this is definitely not weed. But anyways, yeah, they're trying to allow evidence from when there were abuse allegations on my mother, because she had let a guy that she had wrote to in prison come and live with us. Now, this guy worked for the police as a narc agent. And these people that work with the police, what they do is, if they want crimes against somebody, they get people who are in prison to go friend people on the outside to literally set them up with drugs or whatever charges the police want against them. That is called a narc agent or a snitch agent. And I'm about to make a video because I've got one to call out. I've actually got to call the police over in Neosho or Newton County because this bad guy for the cops, right, just went and did something really bad themselves, and they actually drove a car into somebody's house. So there's a real victim on the other side of that. This happened over in Neosho. I think it was recently. So I don't know that there's been any news on this, but I'm going to be calling the authorities to find out if there's a case number attached to it. And that case we will be following very closely because this is actually somebody that I have evidence on that is working with and for the police in Seneca and Newton County. So they're actually working against me. They're working against Dustin Ingalls. And now this person ended up driving a car through somebody's house, a truck actually, through somebody's house. It's a very serious and scary thing. The motion to eliminate, which if you don't know what that is, it's a motion to not allow evidence into a trial. And the reason that I'm going to not allow this evidence into the trial is because this evidence has absolutely nothing to do with the case at hand. My attorney gets to argue the point, but it has nothing to do with it. And the fact that they would even try to introduce this from my juvenile record, it's insane. And you know, it's bad that they're introducing it too, because I suffer from PTSD. Now I was diagnosed as a child with post-traumatic stress disorder from this event back in 1997. Back in 1997, a guy came to live with us after he got out of prison. My mother had been writing to him for a while, so she knew he was a godly man. And he came to live with us. Well, meanwhile, while my mother was going to work, this guy had me and my brothers. He called it a school project. He called it a school project. Well, what this school project was required match heads. It required rubbing alcohol. It required ammonia, copper wires. It required many very bad ingredients that children shouldn't be messing with. And while my mother was out working, the police had this guy having kids making methamphetamine. And he was using. Well, while he was using in 1997, he used to beat me and my brothers violently. We weren't protected by the system. My grandmother, God rest her soul, Mary Lorraine Wilson, she did report it. We were felled by the Missouri systems. So if you're in here on the live, go ahead and jump into the comments. Because really, I'd love to get some people in here. I've got a big question about how people feel about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So, you know, let's get into that in this live. Coyote, hi, welcome to the chat. I'm trying to get some more people in here, right? Because I want to know if anybody's heard of the Gypsy Rose case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard And I want to know people's thoughts and feelings on that, because kind of I got a similar situation where I was failed by the Missouri Child Services System, the same way that Gypsy was, except not quite the same circumstances. So hi, welcome to the live. Trying to get some Q&A going in here, but don't have a lot of people getting into the comments other than just saying hi. Speaking of hi, damn, there's sometimes not enough not weed to get you through the day. Anyways, I promised my girlfriend that I go and get some work done for her. So, I mean, if we don't have a lot of people in the live, we're probably not going to stretch it out too long. My attorney's going to be fighting the motion to eliminate and any other things that we decide, that we need to get done. First, we need to try to work through a lot of the hurdles of him creating and instigating fights between us, because that's not going to be something very good in the trial if I've got an attorney trying to, my attorney that is supposed to be working my case trying to piss me off. But if the jury sees that, then again, it might not be such a bad thing. Got to be very non-reactive. I understand that in the trial. This guy hasn't been any fun to work with, and the fact that attorneys can have problems with their clients and still get work for their clients, like the judge said today. It's kind of scary that we allow that into our court systems in the 40th Judicial Circuit. But so my trial is about kidnapping. Essentially, it's about four counts of third-degree kidnapping. One count of tampering with evidence. That's what it started as. It started, in this case, isn't even on CaseNet. They've deleted everything from it because I had Brady motions that were violated. I had motions of contempt, which, didn't go through. They dismissed the first case to bring back the charges from a Class C misdemeanor kidnapping charges to a Class A misdemeanor kidnapping charges. They deleted all the old case files on that, too. That was 25NW-CR00355. I've got those case files somewhere that I can show you guys. Now, they ended up adding to my charges. So along with the 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping in Newton County, Seneca added some stuff in there. 2 counts of falsifying police reports, 1 count of interrupting the judicial proceeding. So I'm fighting Seneca as well because I've been working to help the people of Seneca expose Seneca's corruption. And I've got some very big claims coming against Seneca. I am working with the FBI. So I've been providing the FBI on the evidence of the corruption in Seneca, and here pretty soon I'm going to have to be making a trip again to hand deliver information to the FBI, because if you go to an FBI office where they have duty agents, you can ask to speak to a duty agent for the FBI. Yeah, and I've got enough for federal charges on William Peterson, on William Housley, and more that I'm not just going to outright name. But yeah, so yes, I've got them coming after me very hard. They went from they weren't going to seek any jail time on this to they've got to lock me up for the rest of my life because I'm a danger and a menace to society. Now, the ironic thing about these kidnapping charges are the actual circumstances involving them. Now, I got charged with 4 counts because there were 4 people in a car. And they say that because I was petty and I put a bag of diapers on the hood of a CPS worker's car, the CPS worker then decided to take his car, use it as a weapon, and plow me with it. Well, because I stood in front of his car and didn't get out of the way of his car, he decided to drive it through me. I got charged for, essentially blocking him in, is what they're alleging. Yep, they were dirty diapers. He was there to do an investigation. Now, I actually have the investigation and report that he did, right? And this I think might actually get put out here on YouTube as far as this case goes, because this was the case that is tied to the dirty diapers, to the assault to Hero Cop. So this is absolutely relevant. Well, I don't want to plead legally insane because what they're accusing me of makes dark crypto. We don't have to get on here and make everything political about Trump. I know many people that don't like Trump. There's some big things happening in our country and in the world, but oh no, I want the jury to see what's going on. I want the jury to see the corruption that Newton County has, and these claims go all the way up to William Patrick Lynch. Well, I mean, 12 are going to get to see the corruption. They're going to get to see that I got charged with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping because there were 4 people in a car that hit me. The police that did the investigation, they work with Garrett Cummings on a professional level. They come out to house calls, CPS house calls with Garrett. So me and my attorney have some evidence to gather from the dates that I have that they were out at these house calls, because they were there. There's body camera footage, and we're going to be showing that the police that did the investigation into Garrett's assault are the same officers that work with Garrett on a house call, setting up a professional relationship. Cannabis psychosis. I haven't heard of that. Is that an actual diagnosis, or is that something that you have? Well, you're right. The kidnapping charges usually don't come out of nowhere. So let's talk about where these kidnapping charges came from. So the prosecution is alleging that standing in front of the car, being petty, putting diapers on there. Now, there is a total of 23 seconds from the time that I put the diapers onto the hood of the car to the time that the car hit me. And you're right. Kidnapping charges don't come out of nowhere. These didn't just come out of nowhere. They came out of the police that work with Garrett, being his friends, going on house calls with him, having a professional relationship with him, right? Gary used to work with my ex-wife, Tammy. So I'd imagine that the guy didn't like me too much. He's friends with my ex-wife. I was helping a woman who was a victim of domestic violence. Garrett got mad that I was filming him, that I put the diapers on the hood of his car, so he hit me with the car. The police, to protect Garrett and cover up his Class A felony, it's a violation of 18 U.S.C. 242. That's a federal offense worthy of 10 years in federal prison. If convicted. Yeah, we're talking about Chance Brandstetter in this instance, the officer that investigated, who was Garrett's friend. You can see in the body-worn camera footage him defending Garrett, laughing and joking about the diapers. He ensures Garrett that the charges won't get any worse for him. Nothing was going to happen of it. He did ask Garrett Cummings if he was in fear for his life, but he never asked me that. He never talked to any of my witnesses in the house of the day of the instance. And as I was being taken out on a gurney because I could not get up off of my couch, EMS had to lift me up, take me to the hospital by emergency transport. I'm still not able to fully walk. I am on orders from my physical therapist. If I'm going out and we're going anywhere, I have to be in a wheelchair. I am not allowed per my doctors to be out just walking around. And yes, they charged me with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping, misdemeanor crime to cover up Garrett's Class A felony of assault with a motor vehicle. It's under statute RSMO 565-050, the Missouri Code, and the police covering that up, and the county covering that up, takes away all of my rights as a United States citizen to have fair due process and to be believed as a victim, because Garrett didn't face any charges for hitting me. I faced the charges for calling the police to file the report of Garrett hitting me. Oh, I actually I have an attorney that I'm working with right now on the 1983 claims case. So I'm not going to divulge too much of the information on that case, other than I do have an attorney currently that I'm working with to bring that to federal court. So yeah, we absolutely have that. We have a ton of evidence. We actually in the police footage, the body worn camera footage that I have, you guys can go back and see this on the videos of the investigation and more on my channel. I know I've got a lot, you know, it's YouTube worthy, Netflix. I mean, heck, if they want to make a documentary of it, you know, I'm open to talking to the big brands. But yeah, Garrett and Chance were joking that day when I was being taken out by ambulance that I was going to sue them, and they were laughing about it. They said in their body worn camera footage, "We know he's going to try to sue us, ha ha ha." I mean, I wasn't laughing about it, and I'm still not laughing about it, because I'm rehabbing. Me and my physical therapist, Mr. Brooks, are working to try to get my body healthy, because I'm running for United States Congress in 2026. And I'd like to actually be able to get up and stand on stage and walk on stage and be able to give addresses to people not from a wheelchair. So I am intensely rehabbing to get off of my restrictions from my doctors and physical therapists to have a better body. I'm also losing weight. I used to be 500 pounds. I'm down around 220 pounds today. So I know a thing or two about weight loss, and I've had people ask me to do weight loss videos. I mean, I don't know about people replicating some of the crazy things that I do. So usually I only eat once a day. That helps with it. Rule number 4 of the badass. All right, Philip, tell me more about this rule number 4 of the pirate code. Never take something that doesn't belong to you. Are you talking about the Fourth Amendment that protects from unreasonable searches and seizures? The police seize people and things that don't belong to them all the time. Police piracy is a big deal. Now, a lot of the times the police take these things, hold them as evidence, don't ever give them back, and they end up giving these. They call them perk items in the evidence. Okay, yeah, the law of seizures. Yep. Okay, so yeah, that definitely applies to the Fourth Amendment. The police like to take things and people that don't belong to them. So if the police don't even, so if you've ever heard of Terry versus Ohio, right? A Terry stop. Police only have what's called implied consent. So unless they have reason to suspect you of a crime, they don't have any reason to take you and your person. That's called a seizure right there. If they detain you to investigate a crime and they don't have any reason or crime that they're actually investigating, That's an unlawful seizure of your person. I actually have that in Seneca. I recently posted that video too of the police encounter in Seneca. I was homeless at the time, and I was dealing with an emergency situation. They decided to go ahead and seize me. Yeah, yep, and that's a huge part of the corruption. Donald Trump's talked about getting the corruption out, the illegal seizures, the policing for profit. It's one of the big reasons we need police reform in our country, is because just like you're saying, Jurfax 51, uh, that they do it all over the country. It's a huge part of the police crime syndicate. Your hat. Still homeless. No, I'm not still homeless. I got a house. I got a tent that I use outside, uh, for privacy, and to because I live in the city. I kind of like my privacy, but I also to smoke my Mary Jane. Charles Portwood. Sir, I do not do that, okay, on YouTube. I am not going to do that on YouTube, and I do not have an OnlyFans account, so I still will not. So I appreciate your attempt to try to get me to do that, but that won't happen. Yes, and I know, police really hate potheads. That's why I proudly wear this. That's why I'm a proud pothead, and I'm a proud pothead running for United States Congress. I like some of the moves that the president has made on marijuana, but I think that more needs done. I'm a content creator. Is my current profession and what I do for a job. YouTube is right now my main income source. I am looking to mount a run for United States Congress in 2026. So I'm actually going for a really big job. Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, you know what was smoked on the plains a lot back in the day? I did my court today by WebEx. So in Newton County, you can actually do your court online by WebEx. Man, it gets really cloudy out here in this tent. It must be a fog machine or something out here. Bushes of Bethlehem. I've never heard of that flash. That flash for me. That's pretty cool. I always call it the Lord's lettuce. Jerifax, a big plan, and we need this. Is we need the prohibition. We need, and that's what the marijuana is. Where we let states decide state by state, rather than allowing the American people to have the freedom, just like we allow smoking tobacco products, just like we allow consuming alcohol products. THC is at that same level. Actually, it's on a higher level than alcohol or nicotine because it's not a reuptake inhibitor. It actually enhances the nerve connections. So it does a lot of really good municipal things for your body, and it shouldn't be banned anywhere in the United States. No state should have the right to tell their citizens that they can't do something that is good for them. Yes, yes, Fairfax. Smoking weed should be allowed nationwide. We need to end a lot of the mandates. Now, I mean, there are protections, some protections that are needed just to ensure that it doesn't get into the hands of minors. But we take those same precautions with alcohol and tobacco. Why couldn't we just take those same precautions with marijuana? It's it's common sense. Well, Drew, it's really interesting that you say that because you see this realtor pin right here. Now, back in February, I was still a licensed realtor on February 20th. On February 21st of 2025, I got hit by a social worker who was driving a 3,200 pound car. Now, as a licensed realtor, and that's what I was doing then, I think everybody in this chat would agree that's a very pretty good, that's a good profession, right? So I was a licensed realtor, but after I got hit by a 3,200-pound car, I had to let my clients go because I couldn't do my fiduciary obligation to ensure that they were getting the property worthy of their buy, especially if a client's going to be spending $4 million on a property. I really owe that client a huge fiduciary obligation in that purchase that they're interested in that I couldn't do. And had we closed that deal, that would have been a very huge deal. That's what I was working on when I got assaulted by Garrett Cummings. Now, them deciding to protect him and charge me with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping, as you can assume, at that point, the MREC would work very much like the NFL, where they would essentially put me on suspension or leave, pending the outcome of the investigation and the trial. So they took away my job. I kind of had to look for another opportunity, and that's where I decided, since I was being attacked by my government, that I would become a content creator on YouTube to actually worry more about just, my freedom and getting things out there while my government's been attacking me and trying to keep me down. And I think a lot of it is because I'm a pothead. Oh, in flash warning, the justice system, it is definitely weaponized, so much in Missouri. And I've been actually thanking God recently for all of these lumps, because without Garrett hitting me, without my life and everything that I know being taken away from me, without these trials and tribulations, I wouldn't have the shame and humility that I have in having to face everything that's happened to me. But I get this out there because I put this out here publicly because I have nothing to hide. It's ridiculous to think that you would get 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping for standing in front of a car that hits you. Only if the guy's friends with the police, I Fax. Man, I drove tractor trailer for 15 years. Back then, I didn't smoke weed. Marijuana is federally mandated. So, there's a big deal to ending the prohibitions and trying to figure out what regulations are proper for marijuana. But yeah, I used to be the same way, where I didn't smoke weed because legally I couldn't, and be a tractor trailer driver, which back then I had a 6-figure income. So I was at the top of the trucking industry before I was taken out in a semi-wreck in July of 2022. I suffered a TBI. Now that case is actually down in Louisiana. I've got an attorney on that case, and he's one of the biggest attorneys in Louisiana. So we're going to be going to trial on that one in September, and I'm not even sure what the number is that my attorney's asking for on that fully. So Jerfix, yeah, I mean, people discriminate against people's life choices all the time. And I mean, trolls are out there. Mostly I bless their heart, and ignore some of them. Have fun with the other ones. I do stand-up comedy from time to time, so I get to deal with the trolls live, yelling at me in person, and it's just as fun to have fun with them. All right, Miss T 819. Thank you. I actually just fixed the head up today because this thing had fallen off. Stop smoking pot. Why would I stop doing something that's helped me so much? Fish stick, Shane. Oh my God, that is it. I hope that's not your guy. That's a strange name. But stop smoking pot. Then I don't know why I do something that I love so much. No, you're right, Jer Fax. There is nothing wrong with spreading the word about corruption or spreading the word, about people's rights. And that's why I follow people like some constitutional lawyers. Um, a big one that I follow and support, his name is Tanawa Downing. You can look him up on his official Facebook page, and he'll teach you a lot about the Constitution and your rights, because the state, they like to violate your rights. The police like to violate your rights. A lot of it's policing for profit. They manipulate people, the system, and they milk the community for their money. I mean, if you've ever noticed the people that are always down at court, and I've gone down to Seneca many times to see what's happening in court, and I've known for a little bit that I was going to be running for Congress, so I've been going down there to see what happens and hear what happens. I've taken testimony from people like the Chief of Police, James Altick, the prosecuting attorney, William Peterson, the judge. His name is trying to think of the judge's name down there in Seneca. See, this is where my TBI kicks in. My girlfriend's a great help with my TBI. Smoke that hat, definitely badass brother. Yeah, and the thing is, marijuana. People, there's been such a stereotype on weed for so long. The same people that have tried to outlaw and ban marijuana are the same people that want to put stigmatisms on anyone who says alien. If you say the word alien, or you say aliens are real, you automatically get that stigma from society that you're a crazy person or a loony person. Oh my God, it must be the weed. Let me tell you a story about it must be the weed, right? At my old house before I went homeless, and this was back when I was, early on smoking. So I saw something that I thought was completely crazy. I'm sitting there smoking a joint, and I'm fairly high. And I see this giant bear fall out of a tree. I hear the crack, and I see this giant black thing fall. And I looked at my joint. I'm like, man, how high am I? But my daughter was outside playing, and she, I'll tell on her a little bit. She cursed out a little bleep here, right? She said, What the bleep was that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God. I really did just watch a bear fall from the tree. I thought it was the weed." But no, I mean, if she's outside playing with her soccer ball and she saw that too, then I know it wasn't just me. No, marijuana actually helps to stimulate your brain function, and it repairs a lot of problems. Robox, you hit the nail on the head, and that's exactly what it is. When you smoke weed, you're fucking big pharma. Excuse my language, but you are absolutely screwing the pharmaceutical industry when you repair your body by what's been stigmatized as an illicit substance in marijuana. Don't know how you met me. I'll call you back, Dustin. That's a friend and a fellow YouTuber, Dustin Ingalls. I'm actually working on a big video right now to let people know what snitches are. You met me, All right. I'll call him back here in a minute, or I might have to end that here soon. Hopefully he ain't in a damn emergency. His cousin, right, who's a snitch for the Seneca police, had an incident that I'm actually going to be investigating pretty soon. He drove a pickup through somebody's house. This guy is a snitch. He works for Seneca for the cops. And, they didn't take him to the hospital or do any kind of, they didn't do any kind of blood draw or try to figure out what substances he might have been on. Now, this guy works with the cops a lot, helps them out, and I've actually caught him. I'm going to be doing a video soon about this. Yeah, he's definitely somebody who doesn't care very much about his life. Okay, so what kind of illnesses and chronic diseases do I have that require me to smoke marijuana? Number one, you don't have to have one that requires you to smoke it, but I do have several things that it helps me with. Back in 22, in July, I was in a semi-wreck in Louisiana. I had a, I'd suffered a traumatic brain injury and a shoulder dislocation that ended up requiring surgery. Well, my doctor back in December of 23 put me on a pharmaceutical medication called hydrocodone, something I'd taken before. Well, in this particular instance, I had a severe allergic reaction called anaphylaxis. It sent me to the ICU, and it was a blessing from God that my girlfriend was even there that day to take me to the ICU. She was supposed to be down taking care of her mother and grandmother that had stage 4 lung cancer. She was supposed to be down in Maryville. She wasn't even supposed to be with me the weekend that I was watching my son, had taken a hydrocodone. At 11 o'clock that night, I went into anaphylactic shock. And had my girlfriend not been there to get me to the hospital, I lost my sight, lost my vision. It was a very severe reaction. Had she not came home that night to be with me, then I would be dead. My son would have found me dead the next morning, or might have been in the car with me when I lost my sight, wrecked, and the situation could have been much worse, but I definitely would have been dead. And I'm actually working with the hospital right now to do some internal investigations on some things that, have happened in the hospital to try to get all the answers. But essentially, due to my event in the ICU, where I might or might not have passed over the line and gone to the great beyond, which there's a lot of debate and theory behind that. Coming out of that, I haven't been able to take any kind of pharmaceutical since. My medical professionals are thinking that I have a condition called pharmacophobia, which is essentially any fear of pharmaceuticals. After my shoulder surgery in March of 2024, I wasn't able to take anything for pain. I can't take any kind of pharmaceuticals at all, so Big Pharma can kiss my ass. They've Scotty, have they had you in rehab for marijuana? Marijuana is not an addiction. When I started smoking weed, that was actually when I stopped drinking alcohol because I had enough sense to realize what alcohol was doing to my body, which was causing swelling on my brain, causing swelling of the fluids on my brain. I was poisoning my body, and I never really had a good effect from alcohol. So when I started smoking weed, I became a lot smarter in not doing things that were bad for me. So marijuana can absolutely change your life for the better. Marijuana is not an addiction, it's a cure. They just don't want you doing it because it fucks with Big Pharma. Yeah, and I worked for my living for a long time. As a truck driver on America's highways, I was the backbone of the American economy. I worked under a direct order of the Secretary of Transportation in 2020 during COVID to haul essential goods. It didn't hugely benefit me because I was on the Dollar General dedicated account delivering toilet paper, delivering clean solutions, household goods. Uh, and I had to keep the hours with the stores. So, but I did work during COVID. I didn't have the same experience of being kind of locked away and the mental conditions that other people might have had from COVID because I was an essential worker at the time and I didn't follow the same rules and regulations. I didn't even follow the same DOT rules and regulations that has to be followed today, and that was in large part due to the Secretary of Transportation and the then president at the time, Donald John Trump. So I will say that very proudly that I worked hand in hand with the Secretary of Transportation and the President of the United States to try to get America back up on its feet. And I'm damn glad we have him as a president today. I do stand-up comedy on occasion. It's a little bar called Blackthorn Irish Pub. It's over here in Joplin, Missouri. First and third Sundays. James is the host comedian. So I mean, it's open mic night. So if you're a comedian too, come down and try it. I don't get any tips or anything from it. I smoke some weed out there, have some fun. I've had a problem getting down to do the stand-up comedy because I'm doing rehab, and sometimes my pain is so intense about 8, 9 o'clock that I can no longer remain conscious, and I have to go lay down, and that's about my bedtime. So when the pain gets too intense for me, the weed doesn't do anything, the hot tub doesn't do anything. Fairfax, child support, it can be a huge enemy. And, I think we need to look into what's happening with child support. And we have a lot of people, like my oldest brother, he paid child support on kids that weren't his. My oldest brother has some intellectual disabilities. And, people talk about the war on marijuana. What about the war on meth? No, I'm not on disability right now. I'm waiting on a hearing on that because I was hit and disabled, on February, 20th. So, or on February 21st of 2025. After that, I haven't been able to work because of that and the attack from the police. But I mean, yeah, child support and taking away. By the way, my friend Dustin deals with child support. They've taken away his ability, and the police that are constantly attacking him have taken away his ability to get his driver's license back. Taken away. I mean, child support's. It's almost got him head underwater, and he's having to do side jobs. He works his ass off. I've seen Dustin go and cut down trees that are insane, and he's a great laborer. I tell you what, if anybody ever needs a laborer that'll get a job done, DM me something, get in my comments, send me some messages, because I've got a guy. If you're local to Southwest Missouri, that can get some jobs done. I've personally seen him in 3 days move a very large 3 to 4 bedroom house that filled up two 10 by 30s, and he put a crew together. I mean, great work. Had it not been for Dustin, when the sheriff's department, forced me and my family to go homeless, then we would have lost everything. So I'm not on disability. I'm fighting for it right now, but really I'm wanting to mount that run for Congress in 2026 because I don't want a disability check. I want a job. And I'm working hard to grow my channel on YouTube. So if I become a content creator and I'm doing really well on YouTube, then I forgo any rights from disability and payments because I'll be paying into the system, earning too much, which I'd be very happy to have that problem. And also I'm rehabbing. So the plan of any kind of disability is not anything in my head that is a forever thing, because I'm always going to fight to have a better life and provide a better life, especially for my girlfriend, my daughter. And when the case comes up in September for the Louisiana, it's a lawsuit where I'm the named plaintiff on the case. So, come September, I could be, doing very well as an entrepreneur, and again, paying back into the system. Essentially, that's what I'd like to do is pay back into the system. I've been a hardworking guy, and I still see myself as a hardworking guy. It's just I'm not getting paid very well for the things I'm doing right now. F Congress. All right. I didn't ask if there's anything wrong with him. I asked if he was on disability. Yeah, you're right. That is what you asked. I asked because most people I know like him are on disability, VA or otherwise. I mean, you're not wrong, Funk. And here's the thing with that. I am on this. I am fighting for disability for that reason because I was disabled. I've also paid into the disability system for a very long time, and I'll always fight to, if I have to, cut my throat on the disability case because it's not something that you make a lot of money on. I know people that are on disability and they don't have a really fun life. They live paycheck to paycheck. It's very hard. They're having to stress on how they're going to get by, going to food banks. There's no glorified life or fun thing in collecting a check from the government. I am not a sex offender, and I take my daughter to school. As a matter of fact, there's a big trend that I got onto the school about because there was some very bad things going on there. As a matter of fact, has anybody heard of the popular 6'7" trend? So, average Leon, and you know what? That's probably what you would think with the stuff that's out there about me right now. There are a ton of lies out there about me right now, and that's why I'm fighting all of it. I'm innocent of my shit, and I'm fighting it. So, extortion is a crime, and yeah, and the police extort people all the time. We have huge problems in our system with that, and people haven't yet mentioned the prison system, because if we're talking about the Fourth Amendment seizures, they make so much money in seizures in the prison systems from the things that are brought in illegally into the system, in the county systems too. So there's a lot of money to be had, and it helps people be violent and kill each other in the system. They don't care if anybody dies in prison. But no, I'm allowed within 50 feet of any school. I've never been any person that would hurt kids. I've got an 8-year-old daughter. I'm a very protective father. And when I learned the dangerous trend, the true infamy behind the 6'7", because my daughter couldn't tell me what the deal was with 6'7". Well, I saw a Cheech and Chong video with them doing the viral 6'7" thing. So I called, actually I looked up on YouTube, and I was able to find out that actually goes back to a guy named Skrilla. And Skrilla is a Philadelphia gang member from the 6700 Club. He's got a lot of ties to the number 6'7". He's into a dark demonic religion called Santeria, where he actually believes in cursing his enemies. And doing very bad things. He sacrifices animals. He sings about roadside murder in the song Doot Doot, which is where 6'7" actually originated from. The artist was Skrilla. We definitely don't want children looking him up. But he sings about roadside murder, killing Ray. He sings a religious cult chant in there. And he sings about murdering cops, Doot Doot, 6'7". And that's also a reference to the National Police Code 10-7, which is to investigate a roadside homicide, roadside murder, and he talks about killing Ray and then killing the cop at the scene. So I don't support harming or killing our police. I think we need to make them safer. You know what? Lifelight 4065. Hey, right, you got it right on there, man. Yes, weed ever being illegal against us poisoning our bodies with alcohol. Alcohol's against marijuana too, because people got to understand marijuana will change your thought process. You might get smarter and quit drinking like I did because you don't want to poison your body. Well, Devilface 97, I like your comment on here. If your body reacts a certain way to marijuana, not everybody's a tweaker. A lot of us are what you would call a functioning pothead. Marijuana helps us function because we have deficiencies within our body that marijuana helps to correct. So Devilface 97, you got that right on there. Yeah, exactly. Alcohol makes people stupid. When I drink, it would make me stupid. Marijuana does not have that effect. It has the opposite effect. Okay, so fish stick skein, however you pronounce that, honestly doesn't treat that much stuff, and it's used for everything as an excuse. Well, the thing is, it's not really used as an excuse. It's used as a treatment, and that's why marijuana has become so popular as a treatment. Now, a good story from this is my cousin, James, and he suffered from seizures, and I mean serious seizures and they had ran him through the medical system to the point that he had serious grand mal seizures, had him on several medications, and the only thing that stopped his seizures was marijuana. Was that little thing right there. Saved my cousin's life because he lost his sight and he was on his way without marijuana to losing his life. So seizure disorder is a huge thing that marijuana is used to treat and can save lives. So where you say it doesn't treat that much, it treats almost everything. It's not an excuse. It literally does. It screws Big Pharma on money. Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old daughter, and she is not exposed to the marijuana smoke, right? She's in school, she's, playing on her tablet, she's learning something. So yeah, my daughter's not around the weed at all. Any messages that are bad enough on here to be held for review, I'll go back and read later. So I mean, if your content's that, then YouTube kind of moderates this stuff for a reason. Now, actually, what's it's funny about the weed and the asthma, fish stick, because I kind of see the argument of your friend, right? Because weed will cause you, if you get a really good hit, to involuntarily hack up your lungs like there's no tomorrow. Well, when you do that, you clear yourself of many things in coughing. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised. I'll be surprised if I don't have a 6 pack under the rest of this fat. Part of my New Year's resolution is to lose about 20 to 30 pounds, or 30, 40 pounds. Let's shoot big. I lost that much and then some last year, so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm not gonna sit here and try to say that weed cures asthma. I haven't done those studies. But yeah, I mean, coughing can be good for you, I think. I don't know of any pothead that has said weed can cure cancer. I know for sure that I've never said that. So, I mean, if weed would cure cancer, I can tell you that my mother and grandmother-in-law would still be alive today, as well as many other people that I know. So, yeah, I've never heard of any pothead saying that weed can cure cancer. Now maybe we'll give this a thought, right? Well, weed might not cure cancer if you're not doing those pharmaceuticals. And the attorney that I have in Louisiana is a very big attorney. Shout out John Roban. He's had many lawsuits against pharmaceutical brands like Johnson and Johnson. So maybe somebody who smokes a lot of weed in lieu of doing a lot of medication maybe won't develop a cancer that a pharmaceutical could have gave them. So there is that possibility that smoking marijuana could help you not develop it in the first place. I agree with you, Hydrofont. They have no clue how helpful that is. And you know, it's because we've had a lifelong stigmatism on calling it the devil's lettuce. You know, just trying to make potheads look stupid on television. Hollywood's portrayed potheads as idiots for a long time. And, you know, potheads sometimes portray themselves as idiots just because we have a lot of fun doing it. I do it a lot of times in my comedy routines. I portray myself as an idiot, and it gets a lot of laughs. However, this stigmatism is a lie. If you look at Tommy Chong, he's actually a very intelligent individual. He does smoke a lot of weed. So I mean, yeah. Life Flight 4065. I mean, shout out to your grandma. I mean, if that helped her, then I'm glad through, because I've known too much about cancer. I've dealt with too many people that have close to me that have had it, and my grandmother won the battle. She had a double mastectomy, and she beat breast cancer. She ended up losing her life to a blood clot. But for anybody that's ever dealt with cancer, it's a destroyer, and what it does to somebody's body is wholly unrighteous, and they suffer a lot. So if marijuana helped your grandma, then bless her. I'm glad she had that. Hopefully she won. You know, hopefully she's still around. So, Fish Stick, maybe you could put something in here where you tell me a little bit more about the lives that you've seen and destroyed, because, or maybe I can have you on sometime, right? Because I like getting in debates, and I'd love to know what you've seen it do as far as hurting people, because I've seen other drugs do it. I haven't seen marijuana do it. So I'd be interested in hearing more about what you got to say. Uh, Hey, Jerfax, on the back stuff, I was talking to somebody the other day who deals with back problems, and I've been told that they're doing some kind of study with AI to try to work on full cartilage replacement. So I know the AI's going to be have some big tools in the future that can replace a lot of our body functions and deficits. AI is going to be a big helpful tool. There's regulation that needs done with AI, because it can also it's double-bladed sword. You know, again, Fish Stick, tell us how it's hurt people, because I mean, saying that you've seen it destroy lives, I mean, we got to have more detail, because those of us, you know, maybe it's this. Maybe it's because people have faced charges. Maybe people have gotten in criminal trouble for it. Yeah, I mean, people have faced a lot of prosecution for that, but that's not saying that it was the drug. That's a system that's hurting those people. You know what? I like your way of thinking, Devil Face. Now I do think like some things we've got to strictly prohibit because they do have victims to them. Things such as heroin, meth. You got to have limitations on what you allow. But marijuana, yeah, it doesn't have victims. It's a victimless crime. It's for policing for profit. It's how they continue to take money from us. It's police piracy. It's tyranny within the United States. It's legalized police tyranny, and it needs to stop. I mean, maybe he knew somebody that was just a tweaker. I mean, Fish Stick, did you know a tweaker? Because I mean, I know some tweakers, right? Maybe the tweakers have some issues, but those are just people that have issues, man. You got to understand that a tweaker's going to be a tweaker, no matter what they're using. Those and sometimes those tweakers have sniffed a little too much paint back in the day, or paint thinner. So sometimes, without all the evidence, you might connect something to marijuana, but is it really the marijuana? Because we definitely got to have more stories on this, Fish Stick. Okay, so throwing like okay, I see this comment here by Fish Stick. Seen people throw their lives away and relationships away for it. Now, I see what you're saying there, and what you got to understand is it's because the reason that we do that is because sometimes people don't believe in it, and they're willing to leave us for it. So, in states where it's illegal, but it is such a help to our bodies and our systems, people do it anyways, even though it's illegal. Yep. So people throwing their lives and relationships away for it, it's, number one, people are choosing their path in life. And if you're in a relationship where it's not supportive of it, then some people, especially people that smoke weed, will choose themselves to live their own happiness in life. And I'm happy they're smart enough to do that. And I'll tell you, some relationships are bad relationships. I was married for 15 years. It was a very bad relationship. I was happy to have that divorce. Yeah, I mean, THC levels are strong. It depends on if you've got enough money for the strong stuff or if you've got the ability to grow it yourself. Because I'll tell you, anything you get, especially you get over 28%, man, it starts getting costly for us poor folk. I mean, it costs a lot to get the expensive THC. I'm not gonna lie, Fish Stick. I don't know if you've been in many dispensaries these days, but marijuana is not cheap. You end a lot of the regulations on it, and you'll bring down the marijuana prices across the board. It'd be a very beautiful thing to see. Hyder, funny, you're funny. I like that one. Does he still believe in Santa? Well, I think my daughter would probably set him straight on Santa Claus. I tried to keep the magic going, but she's seen me do too much on calling out the police corruption. She can call out truth and fact very well. Devil Face 97, you are smart as heck. Fast food has hurt more people than marijuana has. That is such a true statement. Them greasy burgers, all the heart attacks that they've caused. Okay, yeah. I mean, fish stick. I think I fairly well argued away your point, though, that the people that changed their relationship decision, or maybe got persecuted in life for it, did that because they were going to use this substance because it helps them. That is a personal choice in life. Dabs are just high grade. It's more of a condensed THC. So dabs you're not doing as much of, but there's not as much of. I've known people with two thumbs, right? That don't really get affected much by dab. I get affected better by flower. There are some people that cannot do as much as I do when it comes to THC, that do dabs and edibles. Edibles really don't affect me. They used to. And I'll tell you, it's THC presents an cumulative effect in your system. The more of it you do, the less of an effect, especially the less of an illicit effect it'll have on your body. So if you want to avoid the illicit effect of THC and marijuana, use it on a regular basis. I mean, there's a lot of things that have the effect to ruin lives, life light. So I mean, where fish stick points out about jobs and relationships, yeah. Well, maybe somebody were to choose to be a realtor. Hey, realtors can smoke pot. That's one of the reasons I chose to get into that profession, because it's a profession that is not federally regulated. Something that I love, but yeah, I mean, tobacco ruins lives, causes cancer, or alcohol. I mean, if who on here loved Toby Keith? I love Toby Keith. We lost Toby Keith due to cancer caused by alcohol. So a great legend of country music, and he lived his life the way that he wanted to. I don't think alcohol should be banned because people choose it in their personal lives. Yeah, and sometimes people throw their entire lives away when, fish stick, people sometimes throw their lives away for things other than, weed. People throw their relationships and jobs away, yeah, and you know what? Sometimes those relationships weren't that important to people. Shout out, Aaron. They never leave their house. Potheads never leave. Have you not seen any of my videos? When I have the ability to leave my house, I love getting out. As a matter of fact, potheads don't like to sit in there and watch TV all the damn time. We prefer to live life, buddy. Not all people have money to get out and live life. That's why I do stand-up comedy, because I love free entertainment. Get down there and I'll try to provide some entertainment and listen to other people doing their comedy routines. Mysterium, you make a fairly good point. We've had so many medicines and practices that, have been developed from what was once upon a time called witchcraft. No, people that do dabs just want a higher grade of THC, and you typically get that in dabs. So, Hydrofon, I don't know that. I mean, they're typically, from what I found, because my brother's a big dab guy, my stepdad's a big dab person. It's typically about affordability, and just that they prefer to do a little bit of dab and not have to do as much weed, not smoke as much weed. So I'll tell you, some people it's because dab's a higher grade, and or for most people, it's because dab's a higher grade of THC, and they just don't like to smoke as much. My stepdad personally has uh, what is it that he has, Larry? Help me out here. He has COPD, so
Emphysema.
yeah, and emphysema. So he prefers to smoke less. That's why he smokes dabs. All right, Aaron. That's why Donald Trump's the man most people around him are. Yeah. So yeah, Trump's declassifying marijuana as such an illicit substance because right now the government hasn't taken action on it. There actually is a marijuana caucus in Congress that, if I'm elected in 2026, I plan to get on, which will put me with the likes of having to deal with some prominent Democrats that are known to be complete a-holes. I'll go ahead and mention two of their names. One is Cory Booker, the other is Chuck Schumer. So, if elected in 2026 and I get onto the marijuana caucus, as I plan to join, as well as the Transportation Committee and many others, yeah, we'll definitely be looking at some marijuana reform. Because yeah, cannabis is not illicit. It's the lesser of the three when you come to marijuana, tobacco, and alcohol. It beats any of those, and those are big things that prohibitions have been fought around in the past. If you want to win your cases, if you want to win your battles, what you got to understand is Supreme Court precedent. What has been done over time, and we've had prohibitions over time. And if you can prove that the substance of marijuana is better than things that have been prohibited in the past, like uh, alcohol or tobacco, then you set the precedent that it shouldn't be allowed to be prohibited anywhere. Yeah, fish stick. You don't have the facts about marijuana, buddy. I'll tell you that THC levels don't cause people to go into psychosis and schizophrenia, right? So people who haven't done THC or haven't smoked weed for the first few times, see how it's going to affect your body. But the first response that your body has to THC is not going to be its continued response to THC, and I think that's what you're getting lost in is people. And the first time my girlfriend tried edibles, she got a little bit too strong a dosage and ended up upchucking. It will have that effect on your body if your body is not used to it. However, I will tell you that there have been absolutely zero overdose deaths from marijuana. At the worst, you will get so high that your all the nerves in your body will feel like they're firing at once. It's called the fuck around to find out portion of marijuana. If you're a newbie, you should not do that much. You should do a little bit at a time until your body adjusts to it, and you can do bigger doses. But yes, essentially, you will end up feeling like you can feel every electronic pulse in your body, standing there and performing an exorcism in the middle of your living room floor where you throw up. I know somebody that's happened to when he was first fucking around finding out. So, fish stick, it's funny that you call Hydra an addict. I wouldn't call Hydra an addict. I'd call Hydra a believer. So, marijuana is not an addiction any more than being smart is an addiction. So, If you like being smart and living your best life, then yeah, I guess we're all addicts. All of us aren't marijuana addicts out here. Luckily, I live in a state where marijuana is legal. Well, and you know, Hydra, I'm not sure if Fish Stick is young and naive or if Fish Stick is just somebody that's personally opinionated, because they've been subjected to what I've been saying on here the whole time about marijuana, which is that it's been demonized, just like aliens. All of that stuff that's been used in Hollywood and throughout time. Churches have long time since demonized marijuana, and if you look through religion, marijuana has been one of the most hated herbs throughout religious culture. But if you look back to the beginning, it was very widely used. Life flight. I'm not sure what the argument is on your side at the moment. I know I've been responding to your messages, and I mean you make some good points. I'm not quite sure what your position is. Well, I mean, Hydra, I wouldn't say isn't capable of learning. What I would say with Hydra is that Hydra is not backing down from the fight and not agreeing with your ideology. And you're stating the opinion that if she doesn't agree with your ideology, she's stupid. I would say that she has her opinions that make sense. I believe we've actually talked about some of Hydra's opinions in here that have made quite a bit of sense. Sorry about that camera shake, y'all. I need to reload this piece of equipment with something that is not weed. But no, I'd say Hydra's very smart. Just not agreeing with your opinion doesn't make Hydra an idiot or incapable of learning. You know, Mysterium. Another very very good point that you make is about MAD. Mothers against distracted or dangerous drivers, drunk drivers. Um, you're right. Liquor is very bad. Alcohol is very bad. So many lives are destroyed and ruined and taken on America's highways because of DWIs. And I guarantee you, if marijuana was legalized nationwide, if the prohibition was ended, you would have a lot less fatalities from the DWI community. So legalization of cannabis is something that MAD should be, on board with as well. Rick Owens, I like that cowboy cannabis, Stuart. See, people tend to overlook that realtor pin too. See, a lot of people when they take that real estate exam, it's a very tough exam. Despite having a TBI, I passed the state and federal on my first go around. I actually took a trip to Jefferson City to personally file my license with the MREC. So I got my work permit as a licensed realtor that day. And I did some time on deciding where to place my license. I probably should have took a little bit more time with that. I ended up turning down a very smart man for a job. Shout out Dan Forbes. Might have to correct some of those mistakes when I'm able to rehab to the point of being able to get back to work as a licensed realtor. But that's definitely not coming before April when I beat my charges. Until after April, I have no chance. And I don't even know honestly when I do, if I get back to the point of replacing my license as a licensed realtor, because of the charges, I don't know that they haven't completely ruined me. But I mean, as me and my attorney with the 1983 Claims Act go, that'll be part of the damages that we research. But I mean, they're continuing the charges against me. They're not dropping it, so they are actively destroying me, and intentionally. But yeah, marijuana, the prohibition should definitely be ended. Heck yeah, Mongolia. I think I got some the next. Help me remember if that's near Bulgaria at all. Because I used to work for a guy that was from Bulgaria. I got hit by a 3,200-pound car, and I can't walk for more than a few feet, and I was charged with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping for standing in front of the car that hit me. I'm currently undergoing physical therapy and rehab. I have a serious TBI that affects my brain, memory, and long-term function. So yes, there are many disabilities right there that keep me from working, and I'm rehabbing from that. So at some point, I'm hoping to be able to work again, and I'm definitely fighting uh, toward that. So Life Flight, I'm not trying to or Fish Stick. I'm sorry, that was you, Fish Stick. Uh, yeah, those are the disabilities, and that's still waiting on a hearing date on that, and I'll be explaining that to the judge. That decision will be what it is. Uh, Daniel Warman, I hope your son stays safe. Now, I'm not against police. That is one thing that I want to put out is I am not anti-police. I am anti-police corruption. In Southwest Missouri, we deal with systemic police corruption. And hopefully, your son is not a police officer in this area, because if so, then he deals with very bad leadership. But I know good police that are within these systems. I don't know that I know of any out of Newton County or out of Seneca at the moment. I do know of a few good cops in Newton County. And, I believe police officers are people. At the end of the day, you got good and bad officers out there. And, officers deserve to go home safe to their families. My daughter was friends with a girl that her dad was a police officer, is a police officer, mom and dad for Newton County. We used to get invited and go to the police officer's daughter's functions, birthday parties, take his daughter presents. I'm not going to put the name out here on here, but I never would have wanted that girl to go home and find out that her father was killed or not alive, not there to be take care of his family anymore. So under no circumstances do I wish of harm to come to any police officers. So tell your son that I appreciate him serving, and I just hope that he will do the research to understand and respect people's constitutional rights, because essentially that's what it boils down to. Is policing was started in the 1700s for the protection of our country. We need police in our country, but we don't need tyrannical police that are out to get people. There's a police officer on YouTube, police detective that I follow. His name is Detective Matthew Thornton, and he is a great cop. And he, I think, should set an example or possibly even be in a position to train police nationwide and set regulation and standards. Detective Matthew Thornton. If you want, go on there and check out his YouTube. Shout out to him. He is a great cop, and weed is legal in Illinois. He respects that. He respects his community. He cares about his community, and I think that's number one. Police have to care about the communities they serve. Over here in Southwest Missouri, they care about their systemic corruption. Now, I do know some cops who, care about the community. Some of those cops have been giving me information. Thank you. You know who you are. I won't say your name on here. So, Bram, I like that you actually have to ask who I voted for, right? I'm happy to answer that. I voted for Donald J. Trump. But the fact that you have to ask, that tells me that I'm far enough to the middle that you have to question where I support. So thank you for that. No, fish stick. You seen people? You did not see people take dabs that went into seizures. You saw people that took dabs that went into tweakers. There's much of a difference there. Okay. Yeah, Dobbs. Dobbs Fab 21. You're right. Dabs are stronger, and they are not for everyone. But I mean, people have to make their choice. People have to make the choice of: are you going to do a pharmaceutical? Are you going to choose an herb that was created by God? I mean, man made pharmaceuticals. God made weed. I know who I trust. God gave me the seed to be able to grow the weed. So, I mean, we can talk about some other seeds that probably shouldn't be grown. They make some pretty red flowers, but we probably shouldn't be growing them. Fish stick, I'd like to know how you feel about that red flower being grown. If you know what the red flower is, you tell me about that, because that's what the hospitals call the magic plant. Actually, nowadays it's they call fentanyl the magic plant, but I don't want fentanyl. I don't want opioids. I don't want any of that. And yeah, fish stick. Nobody's calling it a super plant that treats everything, but it does help for a lot. Also helps for PTSD, and I suffered childhood PTSD. So for those of you who were watching at the beginning of my life, some things have been brought up, or that are trying to be brought up by the prosecution in my trial, date back to 1997. They're doing this because they have no case of kidnapping against me. They're charging me with kidnapping, but they don't have that case against me. So they're trying to bring back cases all the way back from 1997, and not just cases, but like CPS investigations. One was into my mother, right? That has to deal with my childhood trauma on the instance that gave me post-traumatic stress disorder. They're trying to bring that into a case that they don't have any way of convicting me on because they have no crime. That's what I'm facing in my 4 third-degree kidnapping charges for standing in front of the car that hit me. I'm not so sure about kratom. I haven't messed with that, so I don't really. Somebody'd have to inform me more about kratom. So fish stick, I don't actually get any pain relief from marijuana. That's a misconception about weed. Some people will claim that it helps their pain. For me, it does not help my pain at all. So I'm not giving marijuana any kind of pain relief statement. Now, I will tell you that there's the off-brand weed that K12 that is bad, and that should be banned because that is not marijuana. That is marijuana leaves that are soaked in chemicals. Bath salts are another one that people need to stay away from. I remember people doing bath salts and losing their mind. Yeah, you're right. You're right, AM. I don't want to butcher your last name, but AM, you're right. Marijuana is a natural natural remedy, and if people choose to do that fish stick, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Freedom is scary. Get over it. So Mike F, 7698. I mean, people kind of have their own independent uh, experiences with weed. So for me, it doesn't do anything for pain. But I mean, yes, if you get so much benefit from a product like marijuana from weed, naturally you might want it more. So I argue that it doesn't create as much of a dependency on marijuana as much as a wow, this really helps me and I don't want to stop. People that are getting a benefit from a product don't like to stop that product because they like getting that benefit. It's not like a substance like cocaine, and I've watched some documentaries on this stuff. Netflix has had some great documentaries. They had one called Dope, and it went very deep into the drug industry and the cartels too, evens. But in that, I got to learn a lot about it. I had brothers that were hooked on meth, so I really wanted to understand why people would do something so reckless and dumb to their bodies. Yeah, synthetic weed is bad. Uh, Robbie, I agree. THCA is crap. That's why they sell it cheaply in areas. Uh, Integra boy, you need $10 for marijuana. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, you can get some very low grade marijuanas where you can get it that cheaply. A lot of times, those are going to be your 15 to 17%. You'll have bigger buds, but what it does is you have so many growers out there that don't get to their product in time, and it gets overgrown or gets dried. It's extra stored product because marijuana is very easy to grow, make an ample supply of to make an easy dollar off of, especially if you've got the proper license and stuff for growing. You can make quite a bit of money in the legal marijuana business, but you end up with a lot of overstock product. So over time, the THC turns into CBN, which has more of a calming effect on people's nerves. And that CBN is typically where you get into your 17% in some of your older stocks of bud. But that CBN is very good for your nerves and helping people uh, that have slight mental conditions or ailments. CBN, look that up because that's one of the effects of the bud. And marijuana is a bud; it is a flower. It is not a leaf. Tobacco is a leaf. That's why it's worse. Tobacco is also a reuptake inhibitor. CBD. I mean, congratulations, Integra. I mean, you can You can handle some very weak stuff because CBD. I've never really, I've tried it, but CBD was what I tried when I was driving the truck, but I never really felt any effects from it. But CBD doesn't have any of the marijuana, the THC. I mean, there's regulations. They vary state by state right now. AM on what you can grow, where you can grow, what process you need to go through. I would tell you to check with your local laws and regulations on that. Yeah, I agree. So I mean, I believe in having a safe process though, because one thing that we have to ensure is that like I live in the town, we can't grow in town where somebody could gain access to it. We got to have certain protections in place, but essentially we should have the freedom to grow our own product. I agree with you there. Just a few safety regulations that we should have in place. And I agree with having safety regulations in place because I drove a tractor trailer for 15 years. I drove on America's highways. I dealt with wrecks that I wasn't involved in. I know firsthand about seeing and dealing with death on America's highways because I did. And I've had to deal with a lot of it. I've drove through extreme weathers, some of the most extreme weather in the United States. And I'll tell you, in the South, when the weather gets bad, the wrecks get worse because people in the South don't ever take into account that their brakes might not be work the same. Trying to get through some of these questions down here, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I think you bring more of a glorification fish stick to weed, right? You make us glorify this product more when you make us argue and defend it. So if we have to argue and defend marijuana, then you're forcing us to give glorification to something that you're trying to put down or at least not agree with. And if you're just trying to not glorify it, then don't make us have to argue it, because if you make us have to argue it, you're making us have to praise it. So, I do appreciate Fish Stick, though, you coming on here and giving the argument that you give, because you've been very respectful in this process. Hopefully, everybody's been respectful to you, but, it creates good dialogue to bring argument. Okay, H1 Mothi, look, a good example for kids on why never to smoke weed. So, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I've had the conversations with my daughter, and I've told her she's not trying THC until she's 21. That is the legal age. That is Missouri law, and that is how old she will be before she gets to try it. But at that point, if she so decides and she's an adult, I've told her she will make that decision then. Yes, I agree with you there. Never smoke weed, kids. If number one, my channel isn't for kids, I put on here that the videos are not for kids. Kids should not be getting onto my channel and watching it. Uh, it is on people to parent their kids and monitor what they watch. I don't even let my daughter have access to regular YouTube because I don't think it's for her viewing level. She only gets YouTube Kids, and that's still monitored. Now, I will give a shout out to the oh the he works for the Newton County Jail. Trying to think of his name right off the top of my head. Anyways, he's the head guy there. He's the warden of the jail. And back during the Watermelon Festival, because I'm involved in the Newton County Republican Committee action, and getting to do that, I get to meet people, go to events. I'm not a big fan of Dirk Deaton. I know he's somebody that gets a little bit of praise from the president online, but no, me and Dirk have never gotten along. He's a bootlicker. He's a corrupt guy. And I don't like corruption. But in this event, I got to go to where the Republican committee was having the Watermelon Festival. I found some gummies over near a swimming area that they have for kids. My girlfriend had me go up there. She was done with her daughter up there, and there were some gummies that were out there on the ground. They were round and had like the nerds on the outside. So I actually got one of the Newton County sheriff's deputies that was there. Turns out he's actually the warden over the jail. He and I, looked and examined the area. He asked me if I knew the whereabouts where they came from. I said I had no clue. Me and my girlfriend had seen them here, and we picked those up together to make sure that there were not potential THC gummies laying around for children to get a hold of. So shout out to somebody with the Newton County Sheriff's Department that did something very good there in helping me clean up possible dirty candy. So that was a very good example of the Sheriff's Department working with me as they should for the good of the community. As a matter of fact, I love having great content to put out. It's just that I very rarely get pro police content. I'm trying to work with a police agency in Tennessee. I won't say who, but somebody who put away a really bad guy. And I'm hoping to get to work with the detective that solved this case, because it would be a great highlight for why we need police in the United States and why I will never be anti-police. I'm anti-police corruption. I'm anti-court corruption. I'm anti-judicial corruption. My channel just so happens to be called Anti-Blue Corruption, indicating that there is somebody who stands on the other side of that blue line with the people that are being tyrannized by the police of the United States of America. We need to end that. And when we end that, we're going to make our community safer. Yeah, H1, looks like you're just a trolls. Never smoke weed, kids. Unless you want to be like this guy. Well, I mean, I think you're kind of pushing kids toward weed there, H1. I wouldn't be saying that, because kids might see me and think that I'm doing a good thing. So you might be telling kids, unwittingly to go do that. You shouldn't do that, H1, because you're totally leaving that up to opinion. And this is why I won't let my daughter get on regular YouTube. I don't want her running into my channel. My daughter gets to see police on my channel if my daughter were to be watching my channel, she would see police acting in a bad way. I'm trying to fix policing in the United States so that my daughter can have faith in a police institution that will protect her. See, something that people don't really consider is that in the police attacking me, they've been attacking my daughter, right? And they've been making her life miserable and horrible by trying to tear me down. They've been putting her through hell, and she no longer trusts police. And I think that's a bad thing. So I think we need to fix policing so that I can tell my daughter, look, the police are good. You can trust them. Right now, I can't look her in the eye and tell her that. H1, Just keep showing your true colors. Just keep showing your trollness. But you know, I will say, if you're on here watching, you're a fan. So H1, keep watching, keep running your mouth if you want, keep trolling. You're still a fan. AM, great question. Do I take pills? No. So back earlier here on my feed, I talked about a medical condition that I'm facing called pharmacophobia. Back in December of 23, I was put on a pain medicine from my doctor called hydrocodone. Well, I took that pill that was prescribed to me by my doctor, and the problem with that is it sent me into a condition called anaphylactic shock. And had my girlfriend not decided to come home and be with me that night, because she wasn't supposed to, I would be dead, because that pill that my doctor gave me sent me into anaphylactic shock. And my anaphylactic shock was so severe that had my girlfriend not been able to get me to the hospital, I would have died that night instead of a few days later. And that gets into a whole nother story about who I am and why I do what I do. But I cannot take any kind of pharmaceuticals. I cannot take any kind of pills. I can't even take Tylenol or ibuprofen. I can't take Zyrtec. I can't take any pill. And you know, it'd be really fun, right? When the time comes and I'm running, for people to ask me to prove that, because I'd be happy at that point to submit to a blood draw so people can see I'm not lying. I do not take any kind of pill. Yes, AM plants are medicines. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest pills that people use for pain is called opium. Opium, I won't say for people who don't know what it's grown from, but it's grown from a red plant. That's what pills are. That's what the majority of them are, especially for pain. So whether you believe in pills, whether you believe in natural herbs made by God, I believe you should have the freedom to decide how you're going to medicate your body. Heather Haraway. Yes, ma'am, it is. And, you know, my doctor kind of has that discussion with me too. Many things can give us cancer. This is smoking it for me is the quickest way to get the effects that I like. That's why I choose to do it that way. But you are correct. So thank you for your comment on here. Yep, that's for smoking anything, and as well as in our food. In our fast food, the things that we eat, there are things in there that can give you cancer. I follow Josh and Jace. They're on YouTube, and they're from Great Britain. These guys try ban foods that are banned in the United Kingdom that are American foods. So, yeah, Great Britain has actually banned things that America has legalized that can give you cancer. So, many things give us cancer. And, you know, people just want to blame it on one thing or the other. And I have two in-laws that we lost in 2025. Rita Brown and Evelyn Dillon. We lost both of them to stage 4 lung cancer. And me and my girlfriend had been helping them for 2 years battle that. That was given to them by nicotine, a product that is not illegal in the United States today, but does cause cancer. We helped, my girlfriend helped them for the full 4 year battle that they had. I was there helping and learning from them for 2 of those years. So, Kaida, you said that marijuana ruins lives. I'd like to hear what the claim is about marijuana that's ruining lives, because I haven't seen it do that. I've seen it change lives, but as far as ruin it, in some areas where marijuana is legal, I see where maybe the regulations and their choice to do it might have led to something unpleasant in their life. No, you're right, AM. I mean, nobody has to smoke the Lord's lettuce, or as what was that somebody called earlier? I think the bushes of Bethlehem. I love that bush, but these are the bushes of Bethlehem. I'm gonna have to adopt that phrase. Bob, you are right, sir. Tell it like it is. We love smoking the reefer. It does make me smile, and it makes me be less of an asshole. You know that? I've always noticed that I am way less of an a-hole if I'm calm and not wanting to slap every stupid person I see. Because marijuana has this nasty side effect, right? And we've got to talk about the very nasty side effect that marijuana has. Marijuana will make you think a lot. And when you think a lot, you have a tendency to learn a lot. And you see every stupid person say every stupid thing, and you are supposed to bite your tongue to this stuff. But occasionally, when you see stupid stuff, you get annoyed by it. And when you see stupidity for what it is all over the place, you really want to slap every stupid person. And that's still illegal to this day. So we smoke weed to calm ourselves down so that we can just ignore the stupidity of the world. And that's why we smile rather than flipping the lid, causing a scene, having road rage. Have you ever seen a pothead have road rage? I never have. Shit, I just roll up my windows, turn up the music, and piss everybody else off. Yeah, actually, you can, AM. But hey, it's very important that you follow the correct directions. You got to remember, I think it's 160, 190 for 3 hours. You still got to make the butter, but yeah, you can use it in all kinds of stuff. Can of popcorn. That's where it's at. That's the popcorn that the kids cannot have. But you definitely got to decarb it too. I'm trying to get down here to the bottom of these questions because I don't want to leave anybody's questions unanswered. Fish stick. I'm definitely gonna subscribe to my channel. We'll talk, and I'll find a way to have you on. Okay. If we got it, because like one of the great things, right? We can do YouTube lives. We can talk. If I'm gonna have you on, because I'd like to bring you on. Honestly, I would. Yeah, we'll meet and talk, but I could definitely have you on because I think you bring a lot of great argument to it. You remind me of some of my Democratic friends that I have that I talk to because if I have to go, or if I'm lucky enough to win my election next year and go to United States Congress, I need to understand how the other side thinks. And I've got, friends that have Trump derangement syndrome. They hate Donald Trump, and, they can be very ugly about it. But, Jesus didn't sit with people that agreed. He opened everything for arguments. And, where I definitely agree with the Bible and was Jesus teaching to people that, didn't align with the same thought process. And Bob, I agree. It is better smoking it. That's why I choose to smoke it, because you get a more immediate and calming effect. Also, if you take too big of a hit and it grabs you by the boo boo and you end up hacking up a lung, and you end up getting up a lot of mucus and things that are not so great in your system, I will tell you it is good to clean. If you smoke out of a pipe, clean it regularly. Alcohol is a very safe substance to use to clean your pipe. It will get rid of the residue, the resin, and anything that could have gotten in there from your airways, from putting your lips to the pipe. And it's important to clean your product regularly for good health and overall health and wellness. I actually did, and something that I'll put out there. People tell me, Anthony, you've got no chance of winning this because you haven't taken the right classes. I'm like, really? I didn't take political science at Missouri Southern State University because I could have sworn I had. I like that people get into disqualifying me without understanding what certifications I actually do or do not have. Hey, Big Snake, thank you. But yeah, I just kind of updated the hat today. It used to look differently. Yeah, I mean, yeah, smoking weed, it's what gets you at the cool kids table. You didn't know? Man, if they would have had this back in the days of Grease, Outsiders. I mean, they still smoked back in the 90s. The Greasers always had it. I mean, if anybody ever watched that movie, The Outsiders, everybody knew Mickey always had it. Hey, salute from Cincinnati. You know what? My favorite Kelsey boys are from Cincinnati, so I got some love for Cincy. We got a great rivalry with the Bengals. Looks like we're both getting some. I'm a Chiefs fan, so we're both getting some high draft picks this year. So it's interesting though to see if they're gonna have both T. Higgins and the same receiving core next year in Cincy. Since he's got some great spaghetti red too. I mean, that's Cincinnati's thing. If you've never been to Cincinnati, I drove truck, used to get through there a lot. Used to get go right by Paul Brown Stadium there. So yeah, I definitely got some love for Cincinnati too. Kind of weird to hear that coming from a KC person. And I'll say this: I went to some of the big games between Kansas City and Cincinnati, including the AFC Championship game on the road to Super Bowl 57. And Bengal fans were great to tailgate with. It wasn't a whole bunch of shit talk toward the end. It was oh, this is going to overtime. This is going into overtime. I'll be honest, I was talking a little bit more smack. I'm like, nah, we winning this in reg. And I had that belief in butt kicker, so we ended up winning that in regulation. That was actually when Travis Kelce gave his famous jabroni speech. I got to take my uncle Guy Wilson to that, and he was mentally challenged. So he was severely intellectually disabled. But that was one of the fun things that I got to take him to late in his life was Chiefs games. And we don't get the fun that we get to have as fans without people being fans of other teams. So going to games and tailgating is one of the greatest things, no matter who you're tailgating with. I mean, Bills fans can be kind of mean. I mean, I'll be honest. Bills fans, it's y'all are another story. Bob, I'm a little indifferent to what's strong and what's not, because it seems to not have the grade seems to not have much of an effect on me. I just smoke a lot of weed, and I think I've just gotten to that point. I'm ready for the smoke off with Snoop. I don't think he can take me down. And even if he does, I'm still winning because I'm going to space with Snoop. He's one of my top list of stoners. How much can you get in Vegas for 50? That's what I want to know, Kaida. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I do like Las Vegas. I've been to Vegas many times. Nevada's a very interesting and fun state to travel through for many reasons. Yeah, yep. And Kaida, if you live in Vegas, I'm sure you know some of the Nevada laws that make something like smoking weed a laughable thing, right? People from Nevada get that. Nevada's a hell of a state. Vegas is definitely an entertainment capital. Shout out to Rick Harrison that owns Gold and Silver Pond too. Um, so I got to learn this when I went to Las Vegas. But Rick Harrison has a giant parking garage right next door to Gold and Silver Pond that he bought and turned into like a multiplex entertainment center, bar. I mean, Rick himself, he hosts events there. He's a great guy. And he's actually got a tour and shuttle bus system set up for some free Vegas entertainment where they will take you around to all the shows that they film in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, Kite, I don't know if you've ever gone over there uh, or if you get to partake in a lot of that. Sometimes you get free show tickets too. So, I mean, Vegas is a hell of a place. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, and I just go to I take my truck to Love's over there at the north side of Las Vegas and go to sleep. Try to stay out of trouble too. You can get into a lot of trouble in Las Vegas. It's cheap in Michigan, yes, but it's J2. I'd like to know how cheap, but I mean, if it's cheap enough, I might come up to Michigan in the summer, but Michigan is a whole nother place in and of itself. It can be very cold. I've dealt with some extreme weather in Michigan. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, AM, about CBD needs back in the weed. I mean, CBD is just it's the some of the cannabis benefits without any of the effects of the THC. Well, I mean, Heather, call it what you want. Uh, yeah, the smoking is part of the addiction, not just the high. Well, smoking is part of the preference on how people choose to do it. That's what the truth of it is. So, I mean, that's how people are choosing to do it. That's how people are choosing to do it. Um, some I don't know what you mean. Deplorables. Part in 58. What do you mean? A lot of people can't smoke less. You're just making sheet up. I mean, people can smoke however much they want to, or not at all. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get THC into your system to get the effects of marijuana. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right about that. People, I hope I'm not the dumbass that said that, but yeah, you're right. People can choose how much they want to smoke. Smoke. Okay, Heather, I'm trying to read this. Smoking less means you're lowering the amount of times you perform the action of smoking. Yes, yes, that's the definition. Yes. So I don't do anything for meds. My doctors are right on point. I got pharmacophobia. I can't do any pharmaceutical. I've had events where I've been taken to the hospital in emergency situations, and they said, "Mr. Wilson, we're going to bring you this ibuprofen and get that." My body started shaking. They had to take it away. I literally, from dying from an anaphylactic reaction, have a condition called pharmacophobia. I cannot do pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are not an option for me in any way. So, I mean, dying from a pain pill that your doctor puts you on has a way of creating a fear effect when it comes to pharmaceuticals. Yeah, the AM, and that's thanks to the flower power, right? The chill vibe. I used to not have a chill vibe, and the problem with my vibes previously was my stress, my PTSD, my fear, my trauma. Everything would come to the surface because I had nothing to help me relax and calm the symptoms. So there was nothing to calm the symptoms. It was hell. I mean, I dealt with that for 15 years driving truck. I think God blessed me by giving me the lumps that He gave me to put me in the line that I was going to need to smoke marijuana. It was some very scary, very awful things to go through. But I bless God that I've gone through these things in my life because they've put me on His path, the path that He's got me on today. Yep, peace, love, and positivity. See, I'm running for United States Congress in 2026 because our country is in a very trying way right now. A lot of very good things are happening. I believe in our future. I believe very much in the United States. We're on course to do very well. But I also believe that we're also on course to make a change in the world. People that don't watch the president's direct feeds don't get the information from Donald Trump himself, and they're not understanding what the president's goals and motives are. He's widely stated and said this, that his goal is for world peace. He's not going to give up his plan. He's not going to tell you how he's doing it, but everything is going to line up that way. So, Briam 1330, you said dabs are gay. Look, somebody's got to tell me if this is true because, look, the bar that I do stand-up comedy at is, well, I don't know how to say this, but I mean, you will run into people of all sorts and character down there. So, I mean, if dabs really are gay, I tell you, this is a bar that I need to start taking some dabs to. I mean, I can hit some dabs. I just don't like having to sit there and use a blowtorch. And I know my brother's got some automatic ones. But, I mean, if dabs are really gay, I need to start taking them to my comedy shows. So, I mean, I started going to Blackthorn a long time ago, back when Roger owned it too. The bar's changed hands, and it's an interesting place, but it's a very open, welcoming, and fun place. If honestly, if I say anything more about Blackthorn, I think it's going to have to be a promotion. Oh, so the strain that I'm smoking is not KNOTT. This is not weed. So yeah, I know I had been saying that, but people might not have been understanding that when I was saying that I was smoking something that was not weed. That's actually the strain. This is not weed. It's got to be some sort of a hybrid. So, yeah, ECIV, yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but yeah, that's a strain. This is not weed. So kinda, I know people who smoke weed and tobacco together because I know a lot of potheads that are also still smokers, regular smokers. Uh, and I've learned some of these people tend to do a little bit of tobacco afterward. They say it strengthens their high. I don't smoke tobacco, so I let them speak for that. So I mean, yeah, people mix weed and tobacco all the time. So much like turns to wax. Yeah, that's where I'm unsure about the dabs, right? Because I mean, like I don't know what the dabs have long term. Same way with the vapes. Vapes can cause some stuff long term. So that's why I prefer to smoke the flower over the dabs or anything else. Yep, country Shane. I don't know what that is, Giles or whatever that is. Anthony, you'll have to let me know a little bit more on that. I mean, David, we've had some opinions in here. We've had facts in here. I mean, I know people that do smoke tobacco and weed together. So I mean, that's definitely a fact. That's this feller over here. Hey, Larry, how about the weed and tobacco together? Do anything for you?
Yeah, you injured my eye.
Yep. Now get this, y'all. I'm charged with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping. I got an eyewitness. The police did not talk. Larry, did the police talk to you on the day that I got hit by the car and taken to the hospital?
Nope.
Did they talk to anybody else in the house?
Nope.
And I've got the body camera footage that shows it. The police only talked to me. They didn't even ask me if I was afraid for my life. They did ask that to the guy that hit me. I'm charged with 4 counts of third-degree kidnapping because they decided that they wouldn't press felony charges on a social worker for hitting me with his car and causing severe lower body damage to my lower body. With an eyewitness that told the police how far I was hit, how far my body was drugged. Yeah, Bob. See, I mean, people like Bob, he smokes marijuana, he smokes tobacco. Um, he knows. So I mean, people that do it become very proficient on how to get the best effect. And in the pothead community, we tend to like to share that. So thank you, Bob. It should be banned like cannabis. So, you know, I think it's fair to point out, since you said marijuana, that tobacco should be banned like cannabis. I think it's important to set the precedent in fact that tobacco isn't banned and hasn't been banned for years. So how should something less dangerous than the substance that you're saying should be banned hasn't? And the product that is banned is something that's not as harmful. So you bring up a good point in talking about banning tobacco. I say that helps support the case that we should nationally end the prohibition against marijuana. And it's also not as bad as alcohol by any means. And we ended the prohibition against alcohol a long time ago and still allow it. Yeah, organic bed is great. Yeah, sativa, indica. I mean, either one barely gets me there. Sativa, indica, hybrid. That's typically how I do my best thinking. So, yeah, it's usually an all day event, and it helps get me through my PTSD that I suffer with the cops. Somebody accused me of smoking a vape earlier in court. I wasn't smoking a vape. I was smoking something that was not weed. Yeah, and I got weed that friends hooked me up with too. So that's a great thing is friends can share with friends. Marijuana makes people so nice in the community. I think if everybody did marijuana in some way or form, I think we would have a lot more world peace. It's hard to be mad when you're smoking weed. So, I think we'd have a lot less violence and crime. Sojourner, I appreciate your honesty, man. And let me tell you this: people are people. People choose their crutches in life, and I appreciate your honesty. You put it there like it is. I have multiple uncles that have died of cirrhosis of the liver. And I know because alcoholism ran to my family. My body never was the one that liked alcohol. So, I mean, luckily, I kind of had a natural born, God given rejection to alcohol. I was always, even at the parties, I was the lightweight. I was the one that couldn't handle my crap. So, naturally, God made me weak to alcohol as a blessing to me, I think, because it ran very badly in my family. So I never could get addicted because I just couldn't handle it. Yeah, Bob, you bring up a great point. So functioning potheads use marijuana. It doesn't affect us; it enhances us. So that's the big difference between marijuana and tobacco. Is tobacco is a reuptake inhibitor versus the chemical effect that marijuana has on the brain is to connect the neurons and electrons and have them firing at a much higher rate. Many times, people that smoke weed for the first time get an illicit effect because they can't handle that. They can't handle that. Maybe they're having some misfires, so they get very much of an illicit effect. If they've had too much THC, they might end up throwing up. But it's definitely something that the longer you do it, the better of an effect it has in your system. Well, I mean, consider Missouri, Sojourner. Carthage. Carthage is a nice place, especially for people that are looking for recovery. There's an agency that I'm looking to start working with over there. We haven't made anything official yet, but it's called the Carthage Crisis Center. They help people out of all kinds of addictions, and marijuana, I believe, is a substance that for anybody that has problems with alcohol or other substances, can have a positive effect in helping people get clean off of other addictions. And I appreciate your courage for come forward with that, man, because most people won't come on here, and especially with the amount of trolls that there are out here, put something like that in the comments. So yeah, I mean, and alcoholism, what the alcohol does is it scientifically it creates a swelling of the brain, right? And when you have these fluids and this stuff pushed against your brain, you tend to not feel things as much, right? You tend to get a little bit of double vision, and you tend to feel in your insides a little bit bolder about saying things you wouldn't. That's why your tongue swells. It's part of the poison effect. That's why your speech slurs, and it's why you make dumb choices, because your brain's swollen and your brain doesn't fire like it should when it's swollen. And depending on who you are as a person, yes, alcohol can have a very angering effect to some people when they get bold and feel that they've been wronged and done wrongly for a long time. But yeah, if you're still looking for that move, consider Carthage, Missouri. It's a nice place, especially now that they got rid of Dagnan. Dagnan was a corrupt he was a corrupt SOB. I knew Dagnan personally when he was the chief of police over in Carthage. Boy, I got some stories from the chief back then and he was the chief of police. They ended up getting him on the city council for his corruption. But yeah, Dagnan already got exposed. You're one case that likes to get outside, but most part. Well, and I mean, most potheads don't like BS, and you get out, you end up dealing with a lot of BS. I just kind of have this rare belief that God wants us to go out and live life and deal with that BS and try to be active in our communities and stuff. And one of the reasons that I feel the need to be so out there, and whether it's coming on here and talking to you guys or actually getting out in the community, holding a banner and sign and telling people to come look at my channel, which I'm actually fixing to do soon. Might actually do a YouTube live out there while I'm on the street corner with the banner and sign, because I'm going to welcome the public that drives by. We're going to let them know what's going on. I've got a PA system, so if people don't think I won't go park on the side of the road and give notice to what they're doing, and this isn't panhandling. I'm not asking for money. I'm just getting the word out there, and we've got to spread the word. Because when we don't join together as communities, the police, and you see all the tattoos with the blue line, the support the blue flag, that blue line creates a line, and that line has got to be torn down, because that line means it's us against them. Police should never be against the communities that they're sworn to protect. You're right, Bob. Reefer has to be understood, and it's been demonized for years. That's why it's still demonized. The fight for legalization of marijuana is far from over anywhere. They are going to try to make it illegal again. It was like back when my favorite president, besides Donald Trump, Teddy Roosevelt. People were trying to ban American football until he was a big proponent of the forward pass. You're at AMA. A lot of pilots like it because we like getting out. Yeah, I know about Colorado. Colorado's such a beautiful place. I mean, hey, even the Broncos, I got to give them their flowers, man. They're kicking butt this year. Beat up my Chiefs twice. My aunt's a Broncos fan. She's been rubbing it in very heavily on me, which is fine. My Chiefs nominated her for years. Oh yeah, and I mean AI is going to be big too. Kinda. AI, and there's a big race that I don't know if y'all know who the Secretary of the United States is. He's a little feller by the name of Marco. Shout out Marco Rubio. He is a great guy. And I could see Marco possibly making a run for the presidency in 2028. I think Marco's got a great plan. When Donald Trump's time is up, to possibly keep the United States going in the right way. Especially, you got to love his transparency when it comes to UAPs and actually letting the public know what's going on and the truth of what's going on. Nobody's really done that better than Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, and Pete Hegseth. By the way, I don't know if anybody knows who Pete Hegseth is, but go YouTube that name and listen to this guy. He is our Secretary of War, and I'm quickly becoming a very big fan of his because he likes to use the term "fuck around and find out." And that he is a true patriot, true American. Don't mess with the United States. Terrifies me. I mean, but Pete is a fun guy to go and watch on YouTube. And watching Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump in an interview, it's worth the price of admission. Fish stick, that ain't good. And I think you make mention to teens, kids suffering mental health issues. There absolutely needs to be a department to do studies to find out the correct reasons why, if that's what's going on. Because we absolutely need to take care of our youth in the United States because they're going to be our future. And there were problems back in the 90s. I'm a 90s kid, right? We had a lot of problems back in the 90s. Has anybody ever heard of Gypsy Rose? That's what I want to know. Come on in here and let me know if you've heard of the Gypsy Rose story. She had a Netflix special. I want to know, and try to keep this within what YouTube's going to allow. But I want to know you guys' opinion on Gypsy and if she should have served any time. Because Gypsy was another failed child of the Missouri social system, much like Cherokee, another woman who was a victim of the system's failure. And I still hope she's doing well today. So, Cherokee, if you see this, leave me a comment somewhere. Just I hope you're doing okay. Branson is you give great point. I love Branson, Taney County. It's like mini Las Vegas. Branson's probably one of the great places in Missouri. If you come to Missouri, you need to get down there to Taney County and visit Branson. I'll be in Branson this year, as a matter of fact. Because as I start my run for United States Congress, Taney County is in the 7th Congressional District of the United States Congress. So that's part of Missouri's representative district. It's a beautiful place. They've got Table Rock Lake down there. Got a lot of entertainment down there. You've got the Titanic Museum. If anybody's ever seen that legendary movie, you've got actual artifacts in that museum that were inside the Titanic. So, for anybody who's ever seen that, and for those of you who watch this who have not seen the Titanic, you've got to see it. It's one of the greats. Down in Branson, Missouri, we have actual pieces of the Titanic. Fake news fish. You're funny. All right, trying to get down here into some of these. But like I said, if y'all know anything about the Gypsy Rose, or look it up and let me know what you guys think. It's worth a watch. Anyways, I'm gonna have to get off here soon. I'm gonna get down here to these comments to see if y'all know about that. I'm a candidate that is for prison reform, and you won't find, I think, any other Republican candidate that will put their foot down and say we need prison reform in the United States. The prison system is a system that is set up for corruption, and somebody that I know personally and work with knows Gypsy Rose personally. She I don't know what kind of communication she still has with Gypsy, but while Gypsy served an 8-year prison sentence, she was cellmates with my friend Sheena, Sheena Eastburn, who served 25 years in Missouri prison. And she cares very much about the public and the community. She works with Dream.org, and the goal in prison reform is trying to rehabilitate instead of having the corrupt systemic prison system that we have that doesn't reform people and just makes people worse, so that when they come out of prison, you have repeat offenses, more money that goes into the system, more narcotics, more seizures, so that the government makes money while not giving a damn that the public and community, we're having actual victims inside that. And her goal on prison reform is to reform people so that when they come out, they are productive members of society. Sheena and Dream.org, they're absolutely on track with that. And you know, that's a Democratic organization. That is a left organization. They're not big fans of Donald Trump. I am, but you know, I'm a common sense guy, and what we need is common sense reform in the United States. Yep. Reefer Madness, we do love our Donald Trump. Our Donald Trump is becoming a very good friend to the marijuana community, and we absolutely give the president his flowers on that. All right, let's not be so mean to Fish Sticks. Okay, I might have to have Fish Sticks come on here sometime. Y'all can fact check him. But my battery is getting down to that point, so I'm going to have to end the live here, guys. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, sub, and come check out some of the videos on my channel. We'll do this again soon.